Chapter 5, Part 2, Down in Demon Territory. Surface dwellers rarely traded full ether. Instead, they traded fractions, 1/10 of a full ether. Still, Vivi suspected 10 ether was a laughable sum for any real ether hunters. "I heard that the ether that spirits used was supposed to recharge," Vivi said. "Didn't you say you had over 2,000 wisps on the surface?" "If I just empower your body or use my claws, for example, those ether wisps will recharge," Lucius said. "It's called shaping ether. I activate them to strengthen your body until the wisps run out of power and become dim. Exhausted wisps recharge in a day or two, but more complicated matters like using a teleporter will burn the wisps permanently." "That means you spent 2,000 ether just to send us to the 4th level?" Vivi asked. 2318 exactly, Lucius said. Vivi blinked at her spirit. She didn't want to call him stupid, but the teleportation had to have been one of the dumbest investments she could think of. Not only was she stuck on the 4th level, Lucius had also lost most of his powers in the teleportation. The more ether that a spirit carried, the more powerful they became. "We'll get that amount back quickly," Lucius said. "Killing a few hundred monsters won't take long." Vivi glanced at the dead monster. The zombie's body looked totally different without its ether aura. Its face had disappeared entirely, having turned into a featureless doll. Its limbs lost their shape and its torso turned into a blocky slab. Out of curiosity, Vivi poked at its chest with her leg. The material was hard like stone. "It's an ether stick," Lucius said. "Ever seen one?" "No," Vivi said. "What does that mean?" "Ether sticks are man-made puppets designed to attract ether surges. They're artificial hosts, essentially." Lucius gave her a look. "You do know what monsters are and how they are spawned, right?" Vivi said. "Monsters are mindless reanimations of active ether, like we just saw. The zombie, ether stick wasn't alive. Ether was what reanimated it to appear alive. The monster must have been spawned by an ether surge, right?" "You are almost correct," Lucius said. "Monsters are reanimations of ether, but monsters are not spawned from ether surges. Surges and storms simply bring active ether into the world. Active ether always needs a host to reanimate. That's why nobody builds graveyards in the underworld. If one gets hit by an ether storm, everyone's buried grandmas will be filled with ether, reanimated as zombies." Lucius tapped his paw on the ether stick. "Not all hosts are equal. A surge hound is a lot more agile and dangerous than a clumsy doll, despite both requiring the same amount of ether to reanimate. That's why ether sticks are built. Ether sticks are handcrafted hosts to create the easiest monsters possible." Lucius glanced at the elk's bones. Twilight elks are amongst the most dangerous hosts to leave around, by the way. That's why its remains are called a surge hazard. A reanimated twilight elk is way more dangerous than a pack of surge hounds. If a surge reanimates that clump of bones, we're dead. Vivi stared at the collapsed doll-like ether stick. The monster had been reanimated with 10 ether. She'd heard stories of large boss monsters being reanimated with hundreds, if not thousands, of ether. The ether stick had already been terrifying enough, and it was literally a practice monster. Vivi couldn't imagine fighting real monsters. "If ether sticks are handcrafted," she asked, "that must mean there are humans around, right?" "Something sentient, at least," Lucius said. "Someone is laying sticks, perhaps humans, probably demons." Vivi gulped. Gods, she really was on the 4th level. "That monster had likely wandered around for a good while," Lucius said. "Monsters gradually lose ether as time passes on. The more ether a host carries, the more active and dangerous they are, and the more ether you gain for killing them. Basic monsters typically carry anywhere from 5 to 100 ether on the 4th level." "We need to find a way up before something kills us," Vivi said. Lucius looked at her. "What up? Why would we go up? There's more ether down here." "This is demon territory," Vivi said. "We need to get out. And besides, more ether means more danger. We're lucky we haven't been ambushed by your surge whatevers. Your powers aren't helpful enough to fight real monsters. Which is why we need to gather more ether, Lucius said. To grow stronger. What does it matter if we hunt on human or demon lands? The ether hunters are after you anyway. They're looking to kill you. The demons, however, will see just another human. We'll need to quickly reach at least 1,000 ether. Afterward, we'll seek dungeons. From dungeons, we'll earn skills. Once we find skills, our ether income should rise exponentially. Skills? Vivi asked. She was alone in unfamiliar territory, thinking of where she would sleep, and Lucius was already planning on gathering skills. Vivi didn't know much about skill wisps. When defeating tougher monsters on level 3 or below, there was a small chance of earning a special wisp of ether. Skill wisps, they were called. When activated, a skill wisp granted the wielder abilities beyond their regular ether reserves. Vivi had never seen a skill in action, nor would she know what one looked like. She just knew that skills were immensely powerful and rare. Even the most common skills sold for thousands of ether. A hunter could search for decades, fighting the toughest monsters imaginable, and finding a skill still wasn't guaranteed. Of course we'll have to find skills, Lucius said. How else will we grow strong? And when we reach 5,000 ether, we can start thinking of channeling ether to elevate your core. No, Lucius, we should head up to fight simple monsters first, Vivi said. Then we can consider coming back down. HMPH, Lucius said. Good luck with that. The 4th level is known for being difficult to get back up from. We might not see an exit for miles. He looked awfully smug saying that. Vivi bit her lip, annoyed and afraid. How would they ever survive so deep down in the earth? What would she eat? Where would she sleep? For now, Vivi picked up the only tool she had, the elk's skull. Without its antlers, she was defenseless. Lucius looked concerned, as if Vivi had picked up a stack of explosives. You wish to carry that around. Did you not hear what I said? That skull is a hazard. We'll need it as a weapon until your powers stop being useless, Vivi said. Survival comes first. We need to find shelter, someplace that won't kill us while we sleep. I can't go back anyway, Vivi reminded herself. The hunters are after me. Humanity will only see me as a cursed child. This stupid cat is my last chance. Lucius chuckled, his cat mouth forming a grin. More ether. Chapter complete. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe for more light novel adventures. Tune in for the next chapter.